Great. Good morning, everybody. I think both Dr. Majdi and Dr. Al-Qahtani, they made my life easy. It took me time to prepare this presentation because they took the part that is working and they left me with the part that is still not working, not validated. And they asked me to get the presentation about it. But I think it's been for me. I've recently finished, and I'm encouraging everybody who's interested in this. There is at Harvard Medical School, there is an online module about AI, artificial intelligence, from implementation or from strategies to implementation. And I think it's a very valid course. It takes loads of work on a weekly basis, but I think if you do it and it's available online, you can have a very good understanding of the world of AI, especially in healthcare. I don't have any financial disclosures related to the subject of this talk. Now, in this talk, we're going to try to tackle the issue of generative AI, and I'm going to explain a little bit about it later on. Now, if we look at those images, and I ask you, if you look at the images on the right, and we ask the question, which image is real? The one on the right, the one on the left, it could be any. So in this analysis, what they did, they gave the machine prompts and they asked the machine to generate images, as we do when we do photo generator, when you do AI. And the shocking truth is that 59% of the experts were able to detect if where is the fake image and where is the real image. And that tells us that there is an individual expert range of about 49 to 61%. And if you can round this to 50%, this means that their ability to distinguish fake from real is not better than a random chance or even not better than a coin flip. So we are in trouble. This presentation or this article titled Generative Artificial Intelligence in Ophthalmology, the Current Innovations, the Future Applications and the Challenges, tried to explain what's going on. And it told us that when experts can tell real from fake, this means that we will have issues with medical records. Research data sets can be faked. There will be loads of medical legal problems. Patient trust. I mean, we are seeing this. Patients are coming with a Humphrey visual field being interpreted by ChatGPT, and they are comparing your ability to interpret it to the machine. And this happens on a daily basis. Now, when patients ask for their photograph, most of the time I know they're going to upload it and they're going to ask the machine what's going on. And this will put the quality control in a dilemma. Now, if we can tell the real from fake, how do we ensure the integrity of the medical imaging? How do we build trust in AI enhanced care? And how do we prevent misuse while enabling innovation? When it comes to generative AI, I think Dr. Majdi and Dr. Al-Qahtani, they talked about discriminative AI, which means that its only job is to analyze what's going on and it gets trained. So it tries to answer the question, given this image, what disease is present. But when you go to the generative AI, which is the one that is being now handled, and it's considered like a continuation of what's going on, the answer that's trying to do, what would a new example look like? So it generates images. And that takes us from the generative AI into diffusion models, which it's a form of generative AI, but trying to give us better quality generated images. What is the problem with that? If you ask yourself how many FDA approved generative AI models are available now in the market, 0. But if we look at the discriminative AI that Dr. Majdi and Dr. Al-Qahtani talked about, yes, we have 4 FDA approved systems and they are working primarily for screening. So with all the problems of the discriminative AI that have been discussed before, imagine the problems of a system which is degenerative, the one that is now as a hot topic that, for example, The discriminative, like, the ones presented before, they don't generate new images, but the generative, they generate. And with that generation, we have loads of other issues like FDA approval, the validation, the regulatory pathway, the indistinguishability risk, hallucinations, privacy risk, and clinical judgment. Now, for this presentation, I tried on these 3 publications, and they more or less talked about the risks. I will not talk about how wow or how great it is, and I'll keep my talk about the risks. And then the next 4 minutes, I'm going to talk to you about the risks available. Now, the critical risks that we have is the crisis of indistinguishability, which means if physicians who are experts are only able to distinguish fake from real in 59% of the cases, what are we going to do with the rest of the images that have been labeled as real, but they are fake? We will have, as I said, medical records problem, insurance problems, medical legal research integrity, patient education, and documentation. And this requires solutions. The second risk that we have is that the output is plausible. It's not verified. And as it's plausible and not verified, we will have hallucinations and fabrications. Maybe you will get an anatomically impossible vascular pattern, or a combination that never existed, or lesions appearing in wrong locations, or predicted disease future that never materialize. And when it comes to risk number 3, and it's the most important one, and we are in the region, we have a great play to do, which is if your data is biased, you will have a biased AI, and you will have a health gap, which means, for example, this part of the world, I think we need to work together to be not only consumers of AI softwares, but to be also evidence generators, because our area is it's endemic of many problems, and it's a gap when it comes to data. And I think if we end up consuming something that's coming from elsewhere, studied in other patients, they have a different race, a different ethnicity, and a different pathology profile. And this is a big problem because disparities in AI models leads to disparities in prediction. Risk number 4, the privacy of the data. How does that happen? De-identification measures available now, they are not able to hide the identification from the machine. The machine now is able to tell if that photography is from patient A or B, because the machine is looking at vascular patterns, at a retinal footprint. And for this reason, de-identification doesn't work with the regular pathways. And finally, we are deploying faster than we are governing, because, as we said, we have 0 FDA-approved generative AI models, but it's the topic that is hot on the press. Whereas the discriminative ones that we are utilizing, they have their own problems as well. So, and there is that big question is like, if there is an error that an AI platform is producing, who to blame? Is it the developer? Or is it the clinician who decided to rely or who supported the incorporation of an AI software? Is it the AI system itself? Or is it the healthcare institution that the AI system is used in? Now, and finally, we all know that real world data is different from research. So what happens in the lab, and now it's the AI lab, might not be able to be implemented in the real world. And for this reason, there is loads of work that needs to be done. And this means that, and I've been talking with Dr. Al-Qahtani about the fact that AI is here to stay, and if we don't use it, it's gonna use us. And it's frightening because my children, a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old, they're now learning how to prompt. So imagine your patients. Don't think that your patients is going to leave you unattended. They will do their best to make sure that they use the technology. And if we surgeons and physicians don't go with that technology, we will be left behind. Now, as just the last, I would say just one more minute, although I've talked about the risks, but I would like to say that the revolution potential is there, it's real, and it's validated, and it's being validated, because we have seen breakthroughs in visualizing patients' future. Now we can, if you allow me just an extra minute, please. Yes. So, for example, this model, which is one of the first generative AI models, it's the DR forecast. This model is able, with a huge area under the curve of 0.87, to predict the future. So you give them a diabetic patient and you try to ask them what would happen to this patient. And there is 0.87, so the performance is high. It's true that it's high, but what about the 13% left? Because as Dr. Qahtani said in his talk, like, if I tell my patient that his diabetes is going to progress, will he allow me or she allow me to do PRP prophylactically? What if this PRP led to visual field defect and inability to drive? So this is the dilemma that we are facing. There is a problem with the rare disease, which means we have image database about rare diseases that we don't have enough. As the machine is able to generate, we're able to generate more images, we're able to predict. For example, a case of Stargardt disease. The main question is how this disease will behave in the next 10 to 15 years. You're dealing with a 24-year-old. And this is also one of the questions that we are able to address. And as future projections, and this is my last one, I would say in the next 3 years, we will be having those generative models being FDA approved. And this is going to be a huge leap. Between 2027 and 30, I think we will have real-time surgical AI telling surgeons what would be the best next step when you handle a complication or an intraoperative encounter. We will have also the incorporation of sleep medicine, metabolic medicine, genomics, oculomics. And I think we are going through a very exciting era as ophthalmologists. I believe ophthalmology will be the core subspecialty in the next 10 years, especially retina, because the retina is the only organ where vessels can be observed without dissecting tissues. It's a mirror to the body, and I think we as ophthalmologists, as retina also experts, we are privileged, but at the same time, there is loads of work to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hussein. Because of the shortage of time, we will take one question if someone has a question or a comment. Doctor, please.
So, this election, what's the advantage and disadvantage about AI?
We can't say advantage or disadvantage. We can say, would AI work? I think it will work in the future, as Dr. Hussein was mentioning, but it needs a long time, and you shouldn't trust AI even in the far future. You should go with the AI, but again, you need your human intelligence versus the artificial intelligence. You will always be needed. Human is the past, present, and the future. Machines will never replace us, but I'm afraid, as Dr. Hussein said, the machine will use us, and this is the worst thing will happen in the future.
Yeah, I think I can add, honestly, I'm not very optimistic. You see, because it's true, it's a machine that will help you a lot. It's like when nowadays we use car, but we have less physical activity. So to compensate, we have to pay from our pocket, go to the gym to compensate what we do. And I think, as he said, it's already available, the screening of the retina while you are working, and can show you the tear when you do vitrectomy. Okay, this is a helpful tool. But who can guarantee that in the future this will not be used by the insurance company to track your work, then investigate what you do? Is it enough, or they can withdraw the payment of the vitrectomy because you forget a tear that has been there and indicated already on a systemic. So it's something evolutive with time, and we will see where is our position on it. Thank you very much for the attendance, and we leave the stage for the next session. Thank you.